Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the third technical session, and as comp, it's my bounden duty to introduce you to our next resource personality. He's a team leadership specialist and CEO success coach. His innovative consulting and training style, which blends authentic, deep communication with a spiritual flavor, appropriate spiritual humor, innovative thinking, and world-class professionalism, has been a refreshing, interesting, and effective bottom line driving mechanism for his clients. Now, ladies and gentlemen, he has an ideal mix of practical and theoretical grounding, which makes his input value adding to the clients. And his practical experience comes from 32 years of corporate experience that included over 22 years in CEO roles in 3 leading Asian conglomerates: John Keel's Holdings, also Rahima Bruce Group, and Apollo Hospitals, in addition to the current role, and of course, for various Sensei International clients over the last 7 years. Ladies and gentlemen, he has provided consultancy and training for people at all levels of organizations in many countries, such as Vietnam, United Kingdom, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Saudi Arabia, Russia, Qatar, Pakistan, Oman, Morocco, the Maldives, Indonesia, India, Kuwait, Egypt, goes on, Canada, Bangladesh, Bahrain, and Algeria. Ladies and gentlemen, to speak to us on engaging the fickle mind, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Ranjan De Silva, consulting partner, Sensei International. And let me remind all of you that the chair, the moderator, would be Ms. Jayamini Samaratunga, Managing Director of Mind Designs International Private Limited, who will be joining us at the end of this presentation. All yours, sir.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon. Well, that's not too bad. After lunch. I think the stage has been, or the standards have been raised too high, and I need to try and meet the expectation. And when Dr. Ajanta invited me to do this session and said, you have to speak soon after lunch, in his own way, he puts me into trouble. Because someone said the post-lunch session is the graveyard shift. That's where everyone goes down to their graveyards, and it's the challenge of trainers and speakers and motivators to keep everyone alive. Someone said God has given us 2 ends, one to think with, one to sit on. And our success depends on what we use. Heads we win, tails we lose. So let's try to have heads winning in this short period I have with you this afternoon. So it's post-lunch, you need to get to know people around you. So the first thing I want to do is, I want you to quickly introduce yourself, say something about yourself. What engages you most to people around you? First start with the person on your right, person on your left, and then people at the front and the back. Just tell them what engages you. Is it money? Is it food? Is it sports? Is it music? Is it sex? Is it whatever you have? So just talk to each other and say what engages you. Okay, just you got a minute. All right, quickly. What engages you? Okay, so I hope you did right and left. Now back and front, quickly. Back row, front row. You'll have to talk to me then. All right, good. So one of the things I want to do during this 45 minutes is to demonstrate to you what is possible in terms of engagement. And one of the things is about finding creative ways of communicating your message, creating ways of getting people doing things. So let me teach you something, something some of you may know, but it might be useful to you. So let me teach you in the next few minutes how to count in Japanese from 1 to 10. In a manner that you would never have done before. So to do this, you need to do something with me. Can you please all stand up to learn to count in Japanese from 1 to 10? Okay, and you need to do something with me. One of the things I believed is when you engage your entire body, your mind and spirit, your learning becomes much more interesting, engaging, and sustainable. So first of all, I would invite all of you to scratch your knee and say ichi ni. Scratch your knee, please. And say ichi ni. I can't hear you. Okay, so ichi is 1, ni is 2 in Japanese. Ichi is 1, ni is 2. Once more all together. Ichi ni. I told you to scratch your knee, not anyone else's, please. Okay. Next, imagine your son is next to you. Look at the sun and say, sun, sun. Come on, look at that sun. Okay. Some people just say sun, okay. If you don't have a son, imagine someone else's son. So sun is 3. Sun is 3. Look at any of the ladies in this room and say she, she. Don't point at me, please. She is 4. So 1 to 4 all together. Ichi ni, san, she. Now we're going to ask this she to go and do a little rock dance. So do it with me. She, go, rock. Come on, move it a bit. Come on. So go is 5, rock is 6. So let's try 1 to 6 all together. Ichi ni, san, she, go, rock. So I want all you to sneeze this way. Say she-chi. She-chi. Don't spray around the room, please. She-chi is 7. Imagine you're wearing a beautiful hat. It's a Mexican sombrero. Hold the hat, do a half sneeze and say hachi. Hachi is 8. So 1 to 8 all together. Ichi ni, san, she, go, rock, she-chi, hachi. Imagine you're a bird flying away. Put your hands up like a bird. These are your wings. I hope you're wearing deodorant. Okay. Shake your hands and say Q, Q, Q. Q is 9. Q is 9 in Japanese. And finally, imagine a Jewish rabbi, a holy man in front of you. Look at him and say Jew. Jew. And Jew is 10. So let's do 1 to 10 all together. Ichi ni, san, she, go, rock, she-chi, hachi, Q, Jew. Fantastic. Give yourself a big hand. That was great. Wow. Please take a seat. And I can now guarantee you, you should be able to count backwards in Japanese from 10 to 1. So let's give it a try all together. Here we go, all together. Ju, Q, Hachi, Shichi, Rock, Go, Shi, San, Ni, Ichi. Amazing, geniuses. Give yourself another big hand. Well done. So now if you meet a Japanese, even if you can't talk to the person, you can count to him and he'll be highly impressed. So this is a little demonstration on how we can get people engaged in something different, something interesting, because we as corporate executives, we need to teach people to do things. So rather than sending them a memo, a circular, a letter, a presentation, getting them to do something is one of the ways you engage mind, because neurophysiology is such. Your brain and body is connected. When we have a full body approach in learning, that makes a difference. Now, can you tell me how many of you looked at your phone from the time we started my session up to now? How many looked at your smartphones? Hands up. Yeah, everyone looked at it. How many of you looked at it more than 100 times from this morning up to now? Almost everybody. How many of you wake up in the morning and look at your Facebook and your emails and WhatsApp before you get off the bed? For most people, that's the first activity, right? It has been found by the Daily Mirror, the Daily Mail, a survey in the UK, that people look at their smartphones 1,500 times, 1,500 times a week. And 40% of them felt that they were lost not having one of those phones and not looking at it at all the time. They found that we spend about 3.5 minutes a day totally on the phone, at least looking at things. Now, this is what makes, one of the reasons which makes our mind fickle. What is fickle? Fickle is it's vulnerable. Someone said our brain is like a drunken monkey. Okay? It cannot stay for a minute without wandering around. And now with smart technology, I wonder what they are drunk on, perhaps on ethanol or something like that. So people get drunk on information, things which are interesting to them. And it becomes a huge challenge for corporate leaders to keep them engaged. How many times have you had a meeting and find that people are on their phone. People are not in the room. Their bodies may be there, but their mind is somewhere else. It's gone on a mental vacation. So I'm going to give you a few tools which will help you in getting this connection. And the first thing I wanted to do is to show a video. And this video is something which is close to my heart because as per the introduction, I did a stint of being the CEO for Apollo Hospital in Dhaka, Bangladesh for 1.5 years. And during this time, I spent 2 weeks in the Cleveland Clinic in the US doing a CEO leadership course. And when I did this, this particular video touched my heart because this was developed by the CEO of Cleveland Clinic to engage their staff, the doctors and the nurses and everyone else, all their caregivers, to give a great service. So I want you to watch this video. There's no words there, just the music. Listen to the, read the words and see the visuals. It's just about a 3-minute video, and after that we'll see how does that help us to engage. last few lines are very powerful. It says, if you can hear what they hear, if they can feel what they feel and see what they see, would you treat them any differently? So, and I think this is one such a paramount and profound and important thing in engaging people. Remember that when we hire someone, we are not hiring a designation or a name or a number. We are having people in the organization who has a heart, who might have a sick mother they are attending to, a child who is disabled in learning, someone struggling to pay off a loan. And I'm sure when we look around the room here, we all have our own stories. So the first method I want to talk about is, in engaging the mind, is emotionally engaging people. I'd like to put on a few slides just to highlight this point. In a world where our customers wake up every morning asking, what's new, what's different, what's amazing, success depends on a company's ability to unleash initiative, imagination, and passion of employees of all levels. And this can only happen if those folks are connected heart and soul into their work, into their calling, their company, and their mission. So how do you get them connected heart and soul? How do we make sure that our waking time, which is mostly at work, is the most interesting time? How many of us wake up in the morning and say, wow, another day we are going to work today? There are two types of people. One type of people get up and say, good morning, God, thank you for the day. And some others say, good God morning, and go back to sleep. Which one are we? Have you got the TGIF syndrome? Thank God it's Fridays. Or is it TGIM? A challenge of a leader is to create that environment where people enjoy coming to work in the morning. The challenge is to make sure that they come with their brains totally switched on. The granddad of management, Peter Drucker, said, we have amazing people. We have a brain which wakes up in the morning and does not stop until it goes to work. And that's where it stops. And then at about 5:30 in the morning, you'll have mass reincarnation, and then you wait to go back home to build your model aircrafts or to write your epic poetry. And we heard some great examples in the earlier presentations from Virtusa and Lodestar and Glaxo on what they do in engaging people. If you want staff to give great service to your customers, first give great service to your staff. More and more in the new literature I see employee comes first, not customer. I am a marketer by profession, but I'm starting to believe more and more customer comes second, not the employee. Customer comes second, employee comes first. Because if we do this stuff to turn on our employees, they will go turn on the customers. Becomes so vital. So in order to engage, we need to engage by making work meaningful, as what we just showed in the video. I would also like to show a few ways of engaging by teaching something valuable. If you can make your people realize that they are strong, they got a mind that works, they can empower themselves. So I like to introduce to you 3 mental habits of success from the science of neuro-linguistic programming. Shortened form is NLP. And the 3 tools are very profound. The first one is called Physiology. Now I want you to experience this with me. Normally people say we act the way we feel. If we feel angry, we act angry. If we feel happy, we act happy. If we feel sad, we act sad. Yes or no? Most people do that. But NLP found out the most successful people do it the other way around. They act the way they want to feel. So if they want to feel happy, they smile and put their favorite music, do stuff and get themselves happy. If they want to feel confident, they walk in a confident way. Because neurophysiology is such, our brains and bodies are connected. The information travels both ways. So let me ask you to do a little demonstration with me for you to experience this rather than just believing what I say here. So I would like all of you to change your physiology or your body language by bending your body forward. Could you all do that, please? Bend your body forward. Put one hand on the other hand like this. And put your head on the hand which is jutting up. And as you do that, rub your forehead, look down, tense your face, bite your lip. And as you do that, I would like you to feel what you feel. What kind of thoughts come to your mind? What kind of memories come to your mind? Okay, go back to the normal. So what did you feel when you did that? What do you feel? Lethargic? What else? What do you feel? Nervous? What else? What do you feel? Anyone? Sad? Yeah? Worried? On and off, I hear someone saying, I felt really happy. We have that. And that's nothing wrong with it, because our systems are different. We are all unique people. The way we are wired is different from each other. Let's do something different for the change. Bring your hands up like so, everyone. Look at everyone in the room. And smile at everyone in the room. And wave at everyone. Come on, do that. And give everyone a flying kiss. How was that? How did you feel? Sad, is it? No. Okay. Happy. So within 10 seconds, we go from sad to happy. And what did you do? How did you create that difference? By changing your physiology. You would notice that, let's say you see a friend of yours, looking really upset and seated like this. You'll go up to them and say, well, what's the problem? Come with me. We'll try to take them off and go walking with them. And as they walk with me, they start feeling good. Why is that? Because their physiology changed. Many of you have little kids at home. Yours, your brothers, sisters, grandchildren. Okay, everyone has someone, right? Now, how do they cry? They look down, right? Have you seen any child crying like this? They don't cry like that. Crying is an activity where the body goes down, and that shows this means sad. Now, next time your little one cries, just do this. Go up to them, hold them from their chin, bring the head up and ask, why are you crying, darling? And as the head comes up, they'll start smiling. Okay, you can't cry like that. Okay? But if you say, don't cry, they'll start crying more. Okay? So simple things like changing people's physiology, better work environments, music around, all these things start engaging people because that brings happiness. The second one is pink elephant. Right now, I want you to do anything, but please don't think of a pink elephant. Don't think of a pink elephant, but think of anything else, but please don't think of a pink elephant. What do you think about? Pink elephant. Right? Because the brain does not understand the word don't. So if you tell someone, don't make a mistake, they go and make a mistake. So just say, be careful. Don't come late. They'll forget something and come late the next day. Come on time. Don't make that customer angry. Keep the customer happy. So changing the words we use makes a different impact. And these are, again, simple things you can do to engage your people. By the way, I forgot to tell you, there's a little workbook in your file, a folder, if you like. You can make a few notes on it. Yeah, there's a workbook which has been given. The structure is on that. So if you're making notes, please take that on, but we'll move on. The third one is questions are the answers. The quality of the answers we give depends on the quality of the questions we ask. The quality of the answers we give depends on the quality of the questions we ask. If I ask myself, why am I so unsuccessful? My brain might say, oh, that's because you were born in a third world country. That's because you got a poor education. That's because the roads are full of traffic. That's because the politicians are corrupt. You'll have all kinds of answers coming which may not help you. You might also have answers like, I'm unsuccessful because my father didn't love me at all, loved my sister better than me, but I did not have a sister, but if I had a sister, he would have loved her better than me. So we give all kinds of excuses why we are not successful. Now, is that going to help you? Is that going to help you? No. What would be a better question to ask? How can I become more successful? Then your brain will give you a completely separate set of answers like, go improve your health, go exercise, take some, good rest, build some great relationships, go read a book. You'll have all types of different answers coming. To illustrate this point, I would like you to share a story, the story of Soichiro Honda. Now, Honda is the man who created the Honda Motor Corporation. When he was a young man, he was working for Toyota. And this young man had a big dream. And his dream was that one day he will make his own car. And he asked himself some questions. He asked himself, do I want to build my own car? What do you think the answer is? Yes. Can we all join in this story? This is an interactive story. This is one way of engaging interaction. Okay? So can I build my own car? Now he didn't say yes. He said yes. Do I want to build my own car? Yes. And the more he said it, the more engaged and empowered he started becoming. One of his friends said, Honda, do you know that there's a program at Toyota that if you build your own prototype, they will make it in the factory, put your name on it, and share some profits? He said, really? I didn't know that. He goes and checks with the manager of the factory. He said, yes, that's right. If you build something which is valuable, we will make it for you. And Honda said, wow, that's what I'm going to do. But immediately he came out of the room, he realized that he did not have the money to make that car. Or like some people in the UK would say, no money. Have you heard them talking like that? No money, let's go for lunch, I love you too much. No money. Okay, but the brain said, think of your expenditure. And as he listed down the expenditure, there was no unnecessary expenditure because he did not drink or smoke or gamble or anything else. So his biggest expenditure was his house rent. He decides to give up his house, sleep on a workbench in the factory as he built the prototype. When he got uncomfortable, he asked himself, do I want to build my own car? What is the answer? Yes. Can I build my own car? Yes. And that opened up a new reservoir of energy which kept him going. 2 years later, he built a car and the manager said, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, completely rejected it. And Honda said, thank you so much for your feedback. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. He took the feedback, 2 more years on the workbench, built a better prototype. When he got tired, he asked himself, do I want to build my own car? Yes. Can I build my own car? Yes. 2 years later, when he showed the prototype, the manager said, young man, I have good news and bad news for you. Good news is this is perfect. This is something we would love to make in the factory. But the bad news is World War II just started and we decided not to make any new cars. Ouch. When will the war finish? But he asked himself, do I want to build my own car? Yes. Can I build my own car? Yes. And one of his friends said, Honda, look here. Toyota has approved your car. They have stopped making new models. There's going to be a vacuum in the marketplace. Why won't you build your own factory? He said, yes, that's a great idea, but how do I get the money? They said, find an investor. Honda writes 1,500 letters to potential investors, finds one, and starts making the factory. Now, by the way, Japanese is a roundabout language. You don't say things directly. If you want to tell someone, I love you, you must first say the moon is beautiful. It's an indirect way. So he writes these letters, finds the investor, starts building the factory. It was damaged twice by the bombs of the war, continued to go on, and when it was completed, an earthquake completely destroyed the factory. Ouch. 8 years. Someone else will say, why me, God? Why are you doing this to me? Honda said, try me, God, give me more challenges. And with that, he continued to go on. He kept asking himself the 2 questions. And one day he was passing a garage, and he sees inside the garage a bicycle, and next to the bicycle there was a motor. He says, bicycle, motor, motor, bicycle. So if I fix this motor on the bicycle, I can make a motorable bicycle. So he goes and buys a motor and a bicycle and makes a motorcycle and goes on the road. And people said, Honda, this is a great idea. People in Japan don't have money to buy cars these days. Perhaps they could use one of these. Which means market testing was positive. And on the sundown of a dream, because he kept believing in his dream and he kept going, irrespective of what challenges he had, he was able to make his dream a reality. So this is how powerful those questions can be. So rather than telling your team what to do, asking them is another way of engaging. When you ask and when those questions come up, remember someone said in the last panel discussion, sometimes in the government, you go and give an idea, someone says, you just look after your job, I'll look after my job. Now that's something which can change. And the next thing you can do is the concept of the $1 million on the mountain, which is you need to have something up there, something as strong as $1 million, which will make you wake up and go. And that is a purpose. A study of millennials done, there was a study of millennials done, and the report was just out a few weeks ago. This was 500,000 millennials in 4,000 companies in the United States were researched to find out what engages them. And they found 60% of them said that they are driven by a higher purpose. If the organization have a higher purpose, we heard about it from Lodestar earlier, if your higher purpose is there, people can connect their purpose to the higher purpose, that can drive you and make you engage. Branson, everyone knows Richard Branson says, business has to give people enriching, rewarding lives, or it's simply not worth doing. There's no point doing business if you can't give an enriching, rewarding life. And again, that was connected to one of the questions we heard in the panel earlier. So vital. The next one we do is engage by making work compatible. People are different to each other. How do we have so many differences. For example, some people think with the head, some think with the heart. You need to have different kinds of works for them. There are some who are left brain, some who are right brain. You've got the creative thinkers and the logical thinkers. You've got some people, there's a company called Colby, Colby.com says there are 4 unique abilities. Some people are quick starts, they want to get on with things. Some are fact finders, they want more information. Some are good at implementing, and some are good at following through. You need to put the square pegs in the square holes and the round pegs in the round hole. Put the right people in the right place. In NLP, we teach something called our modalities, visual, auditory, kinesthetic. Some people like to communicate with pictures. They like to see. Some like to hear, the auditory people. And kinesthetics like to feel. So if you're communicating to a visual, use visual languages. Once there was this crazy guy who went to a psychotherapist and says, "Doctor, do you see what I'm going through?" And the doctor says, "I can hear you." He said, "No, doctor, I want you to see what I'm going through." "Yes, I can hear you. Come on, doctor, I want you to see." And then he gets disgruntled and go to an NLP specialist and says, "Doctor, do you see what I'm telling you?" And he says, "It's not very clear to me. Can you illuminate it for me?" Can you say both are talking in visual language now? And if you take auditory, if you're talking to auditory person, you'll say, "I'll call you sometime." But to a kinesthetic person, you'll say, "I'll get in touch." Now, why do people use these different words? I'll get in touch, I'll call you, I'll see you sometime, see, hear, feel. You saw the Cleveland video? Again, those 3 came up. If you can see what people see, hear what they hear, and feel what they feel, would you treat them differently? So I want you to do a quick personality test right now. It takes 2 minutes to do this test, because I don't have time to do a bigger one, but I'm going to do a quick personality test for all of you. Take a white paper out, some blank sheet in one of your papers quickly. Take a paper out. And I want you to quickly, within 1 minute or within 30 seconds, I want you to draw a pig on that paper. Draw a pig. Now, if you are allergic to pigs, you can draw a cow. If you're allergic to cows, you can draw a dog, whatever it is, draw some animal which has 4 legs. Okay, quickly take it and draw a pig, a cow, a dog, whatever it is in that paper. And based on what you draw, I will tell you something about your personality. Okay, can you quickly pass it to this person next to you? Exchange it with your neighbor. Exchange with your neighbor. Okay, now this is what your drawing says. Now, if the pig is on the top of the page, now who has pigs which are drawn on top of the page? Show your partner. Top of the page. If it's on top of the page, you're optimistic. Okay? If you drew it on the top of the page, it's optimistic. Bottom of the page, anyone? You're pessimistic. Middle of the page. Middle of the page, anyone? A few of you. You're realistic. You're realistic. Not optimistic, not pessimistic, realistic. If the pig is facing you, you have the face directly towards you. Facing you means you're traditional, facing you is you're direct and you're a devil's advocate. If the pig is facing the left side, Towards the left side, you're traditional and friendly. Towards the left side in traditional and friendly. Right side is your creative, lack attention to detail, and you forget dates. That's the right side. Now, anyone with a smiley face, pig with a smiling face, okay? If you have a pig with a smiling face, you're happy and carefree, happy and carefree, right? If the pig is drawn with a lot of details, anyone with a lot of details, with all the hair sticking out and all this, lot of details, that means you have attention to detail, you're methodical, and you're neat. That's about you. Little details will be, don't care about details, and you're a risk taker. Little details is a risk taker. If a pig's mouth is open, anyone with an open mouth? Can you guess what that might be? You love food any time of the day. If the pig has 4 legs, by the way, if there is more than 4 legs, the 5th one may not be a leg. If the pig has 4 legs, you're steady, decisive, and strong. Steady, decisive, and strong. If the pig has less than 4 legs, anyone like less than 4? You're insecure and going through a period of change. Insecure, going through a period of change. Big ears, you're a good listener. Now, the final one is this. The final one depends on the length of the tail, right? So who had long tails? Okay. Short tails. Okay. Okay, this is the interpretation. The longer the tail is, the more satisfied you are with your sex life. Okay, I don't know how much this has been tested, but okay, let's get back. So that's a very quick personality test for you. Okay, some quick numbers on millennials. As you see, millennials find that 43% think that they should be able to apply for jobs on their tablet, and 39% want to apply for jobs on their smartphones, and they found that 47% found jobs online. And they love real-time response and feedback. They don't want to wait for months and months for response to their ideas. They want it quickly. They have the gaming orientation. You know, we are all addicted to these games, right? Candy Crush, Saga, and all this stuff you play. So they want to compete with people. So you need to have their, evaluation, performance on a minute-to-minute basis almost coming in their phone. That may be one of the best ways you can get them engaged. So this is some of the millennial findings. Some of the other trends are tablets and smartphones are replacing the laptop. Social media overtook email last month. Latest report, social media is used more for communication compared to email. Skype and FaceTime are replacing airplanes. People don't fly anymore for those meetings. We had this interesting idea by Pure TV earlier. You don't have to, get people coming. You just connect with them using their technology. Robots replacing workers. Bosses will show up instantly using holograms. That's going to be dangerous. Normally you think, boss is in Colombo, so he'll not come here. But suddenly he might appear in front of you through hologram technology. Is the world going crazy? World is going, or is it? Okay, we never know. That's what's happening now. So what do leaders have to do? The role of a director is to create a space where actors and actresses can become more than they've ever been before and more than they've ever dreamt of being. So this was told by Robert Altman when he got the Oscars. But the point we are saying here is that's the role of those leaders, the managers, to get their people becoming the best, and you can only do that through great engagement. Engagement also happens through educating, and this is an interesting one. I would hazard a guess that most CEOs see IT investments as a strategic necessity, but see training expenses as a necessary evil. I'm sure you would have seen this before. Now, you can do a quick test to see how connected are you with your people. Compare your equipment maintenance budget and your people maintenance budget, which is your training budget. What is more important, your people or your equipment? Okay? Just do the numbers and you can figure out the rest of it as well. If there's nothing very special about your work, no matter how hard you apply yourself, you won't get noticed, and that increasingly means you won't get paid much either. And that's the personal motivation we have for engagement. So with that, I want to finish off that session by reciting a poem for you. This is one of my favorite poems. I believe we all know how blessed we are to be here and to have leaders and institutions of this kind. So the name of this poem is called Forgive Me When I Whine. And it goes this way. Today upon a bus, I saw a girl with golden hair and wished I was as fair. When suddenly she rose to leave, I saw her hobble down the aisle. And then I saw that she had just one leg and wore a crutch, but as she passed a smile. Oh God, forgive me when I whine, I have two legs, the world is mine. Later I stopped to buy some candy, and the lad who sold it had such charm. I stopped a bit and spoke with him, if I were late, I'll do no harm. And as I left, he said to me, I thank you, sir. You've been so kind. It's nice to talk with folks like you. He said, you see, I'm blind. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I have two eyes, the world is mine. Later, as I walked down the street, I saw a child with eyes of blue. He stood and watched the others play. He did not know what to do. And then I stopped and asked him, why won't you join the others, dear? He looked ahead without a word, and then I knew he couldn't hear. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I've been blessed indeed. The world is mine. Okay, so that's for all of you as we finish off this session. And I think we have a little time for questions, maybe. Yeah.
That was amazing, awesome. I've compared so many conferences and seminars, and mind you, at this time of the day, to get your attention is so very, very difficult. So you did a splendid job. Everybody put your hands together for Mr. Ranjan De Silva.
Thank you.
Very interactive, enthusiastic presentation. A personality who certainly brought so much of substance in his presentation, and of course educated us to use our minds in a very positive manner. Okay, I also have the pleasure of inviting Ms. Jaimini Samaratunga, Managing Director, Mind Designs International Private Limited, to join us as the chairman for this session, and of course the moderator. Everybody put your hands together and give her a round of applause.
First of all, I must tell you that before even thanking you, I'm so happy. You can already see that. I can feel the audience also at a very good emotional state now, and that's a wonderful feeling. Ranjan, you know me. I mean, we have been knowing each other for a while.
Yeah.
I cannot help but fully acknowledge and continue to appreciate the power and beauty of human mind. A few years ago, 7 to 8 years ago, my profession, my life path changed from being in the area of accounting and today into psychology. And it's a long story, but in very short, I must tell you what shifted in my life to become what I am today and to believe in the power of human mind and learning ways of tackling the fickle mind is what happened at that time. The secret was in simply the way in which I handled my own mind. So I'm more than happy to be here, even very briefly moderating this session. I'm very honored to be here. I must tell you that first. And before I open up the forum for a question or two, I like to quote something from a book I quite often carry. Reading so many books in psychology and about human mind, and with all due respect to all of that content, I must say it's an amazing explanation about human mind and how to handle fickle mind. This is Dhammapada, a Buddhist scripture. There are so many Buddha statements written. It goes as Pandanam Chapalang Chittam Durakam dunnivaryam. Ujum karoti medavi usukaro vatejanam. The throbbing and fickle mind, hard to guard and hard to restrain. The wise man makes upright as an arrow maker fashions his shaft. Yes, as an individual, I have a mind, we all have a mind. In an organization, we have a collective mind. The collective mind gives rise to a collective consciousness. And based on the quality of individual mind and together, it creates this so-called common collective, powerful culture of the organization. My first question to you, Ranjan, before I open it to the audience, it's leaders who should create this collective mindset, which inspire every individual in the organization, guide, and continue to sustain that effort. It's a leader's role, it's a leader's responsibility. And as I read in the synopsis of your speech, leaders must walk the talk. What do you think, other than that particular quality which I mentioned, what are the other topmost qualities a leader must have to facilitate this collective consciousness which is directed towards a common purpose?
Yeah, I think if I'm to answer in a few words, number one is a high level of credibility. The leader should be totally trustworthy.
That's right.
People should know as he or she speaks where that word is coming from. They should know that you are really keen and interested in the well-being and the welfare of the team, so that trustworthiness, ability to believe the person, selfless leadership. Again, we want to become the best we are, but how can we create a situation where we all win, not just I? So if leaders can find a way of winning together, celebrating each other's success, and I think that can make a difference. So I think that's the core of it. And I suppose another quick secondary one is inspiration. Leaders should be able to inspire them through their action, through their words. So inspiration and credibility, I suppose, are two big things. There are lots more, but I suppose those would be
wonderful, key. Perfect. And I cannot agree more. It's an ability to inspire and be a role model. Yeah. Ranjan, as you and I share the common subject-area knowledge of NLP, the concept of there's a concept in NLP called modeling. That is, we believe human excellence can be replicated, can be imitated, because behind every human behavior, there's a mental strategy, which you covered beautifully in your presentation. So, how can more specifically organizations do this modeling, even not from the corporate, like strategic level management, but even from the middle level? How can managers consciously model the expected behaviors?
No, I think a very important point here is not to be a copy of someone else, not to be just to be like your manager. I think the important thing here is, remember I told about those compatibility tests. Some are left brain, some are right, some think with the heart, some think with the head. So we have our own uniqueness. We are born and we've been gifted by the universal energies or God with certain talents. So what we need to do is, what can we pick from others in terms of their behaviors to become the best version of ourselves? Otherwise you'll just become copies of someone else. You should not look like someone else, but it should be you. But you could definitely learn some of the behaviors, some of the techniques, so that you polish up who you are.
Yeah. Once again, thanking you so much for the interesting, insightful, and engaging session. Now I would like to open the forum for any other questions you would like to pose for Ranjan. I can already feel that your mind is already engaged. Maybe it's all right. You have a question, sir.
Thank you very much, Ranjan. In fact, I happen to be a student of yours in NLP, and you were one time my boss at Sensei. And I think you are a living example of practicing what you have just preached us. So tell us briefly, sometimes with the work pressure and the pressure for tight targets, sometimes people get stressed. And I think stress is an inevitable part of the modern life. How can you link engaging the fickle mind with stress management? If you can give few tips on that.
Yeah. Again, I'll need about 1 hour to explain that, but let me try to give a quick explanation here. Stress happens when you put pressure on yourself. Actually, the definition of stress is the negative interpretation of pressure. Okay, if you look at pressure positively, it becomes success. So one is to start changing the words you use. If you tell yourself, I'm stressed, you feel more stressed. But if you tell, I'm blessed with responsibility, which is another way of looking at the pressure you have, it becomes better. Or rather than saying you're overloaded, tell yourself you're just over-demanded. And suddenly the change in that word starts making you feel much more valuable. Secondly, obviously having a sense of humor, because when you have a sense of humor, your mind gets relaxed. By the way, we have 3 brains, not 1. Some of us thought we don't have even 1 brain. So the first brain is the part here, which is the wrist part, which is our reptile brain. This is the part which is responsible for instant actions and reactions. For example, when you are relaxing at home on Sunday morning, you see your mother-in-law coming, you jump out of the window. Now, that happens because of this part of the brain which immediately reacts. The second part of the brain is your middle part of the brain, which is called the mammal. Mammal is the part which is responsible for your deep emotions, like jealousy and anger and shyness and all this stuff. And right on top, the third brain is the human brain. Now, when you put pressure on the mammal, the information which is locked inside in your hard disk does not come out. So laughter, taking yourself lightly, appreciating little things, the blessings we have, helps us to relax that middle part of the brain, the mammal. Have you had a situation where you see a friend after a few years and you say, I know this person's name. It's at the tip of my tongue. Has that happened to you? What is this person's name? What's my wife's name? Now, if you had that kind of experience, that is, you were suddenly put under pressure. Now, what happens with laughter is it relaxes and information comes out. When information flows, you don't get stressed out. Stress happens when you can't decide, when you can't think, when the right ideas don't come at the right time. So I think laughter, taking yourself, being childlike. Little children learn fast because of this. If you're childlike, stress goes off, and obviously using the right words, right physiology. Find the physiology which is non-stressful. There are also tools called anchors, which is things you do, which creates a particular neurological difference. So you build anchors when you're calm. And one of the things I practice is things like meditation. I do meditate, I exercise every day, I make sure I take the right food. And all these things help me to keep a high level of energy, because right now, in addition to the work I do, I'm also working on my doctoral work, which takes about 6-7 hours a day of research. Again, I'm able to do all that because I somehow give my time to looking after myself. You need to find the time to look after yourself. So I think that's the answer.
So Ranjan, I picked up one point from what you just mentioned, sustaining the integrity between the mind and the body. How specifically can someone start it off? Because I observe quite often they don't know how to start it off. What would be the first approach one can begin to?
No,
is it from the mind or from the body?
Basically, it's taking those baby steps. Take little steps every day and use reminders. Now you have your smartphones, put it to some good use. Use reminders, okay, do your meditation in the morning, do your exercise. Now some of the phones have your personal fitness trainers. I mean, if you are addicted to those phones, use it just to remind yourself.
That's right, wonderful.
So I think,
yeah.
I think we can go in for one more question from the audience.
so we are quickly conditioned to become someone else. That's the issue. But the good news is we can still be childlike. Be unique, be childlike. And one quick thing before you finish off your comments. Since I've met you now, I invite all of you to be connected with me. We've got so much opportunities now. Be connected. There's a blog I write. You'll have the address there. You can connect with me with social media. Please share your ideas, ask questions, because that's the best way I feed myself. When I keep getting questions, it makes me think a lot. Lots of my blogs are written based on questions people have asked me on a Facebook chat or something like that. So please be connected. I'll really like to engage with you continuously, not just finishing it off in these 45 minutes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mr. Ranjan De Silva, you've been simply very, very impressive. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like all of you to put your hands together and give him another well-deserved round of applause. And thank you very much, Ms. Jaimini Samaratunga, also for joining us as the moderator. But please stay where you are, sir, because we need to recognize you with a presentation, a token of appreciation. Can I please invite Mr. Dambika Fernando, Council Member IPM Sri Lanka, to present a token of appreciation to both Mr. Ranjan De Silva and to Ms. Jaimini Samaratunga. It's 3:42 in the afternoon. Everybody is awake, well awake. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Sir Ranjan De Silva, thank you.